We've arrived. Disruptors have assembled.
Welcome, gang. We got a great weekend.
Who's that?
Benoit Blanc, the detective?
Mr. Blanc, I cannot overstate my gratitude to be here.
When's the murder mystery start?
Thank you for doing this.
No, pleasure. Pleasure's all mine.
Genuinely,
Yeah.
I'm so excited to talk to you about music and musicality, really, because
Okay.
I think that there's a lot that we can talk about.
Neither of which I have, but...
Well, don't say that, right? Because I think that there's music connections in so much.
Uh-huh.
I mean, these two films named after songs.
Right.
This is the Beatles. Previous film was the Radiohead Amnesiac track. That in itself is interesting. Did you have anything to do with that?
It's all right. I mean, I let him get on with it because he's like, I mean, he's got, you know, he just comes up and you know, I didn't even know Knives Out was I was like, I only figured that out afterwards. Like, oh yeah, right, that's right. I'm quite slow. Yeah, I mean, that's Ryan gets such a laugh out of putting those things into the film and for people to discover. And you know, one of the wonderful things about the film is that kind of all of those things are in there.
Yeah.
And that if you do watch it and you watch it again, they'll all start kind of bubbling out. And that's what he wants. He gets a giggle out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
This character, though, he's got music in him.
Right. Yeah.
I think he's you know, the bath scene. It's hard because we can't talk too much about the film specifically, but we can talk about the bath scene.
We can.
Because it's been talked about.
Yeah.
And within that bath scene, we have possibly one of the biggest names in musical theatre within that.
This is true. Yeah.
So for me, the fact that, you know, there's a Zoom call going on there.
Well, there's a bit in the first one where I do I sing. Well, I'm singing maybe being generous. I do I say some words to a Sondheim musical, and the fact that he kind of came and said yes, and then Angela and you know Karim, and you know it's like it's kind of all it's.
Yeah.
You know.
But he's a character that I feel like what's lovely over these two films is we are getting to know more about him. You know, the films aren't about him, but I love how with every film we're getting little insights. We get to know a bit more about him.
I suppose I'm a bit kind of I'm a bit nervous about that. I always feel like when I used to watch the kind of P.C. Ustinov, Agatha Christie's, he'd sort of been somewhere and he kind of came in and you don't know where he'd been.
Yeah.
And then he kind of came and he did his thing and then he went off somewhere. And I like that. I don't really want to know. I'm not interested in what Benoit Blanc did when he was 10 years old, really. I don't think it's kind of very interesting. The movie's got to be about the protagonists, the suspects, and everybody's got to be kind of concentrated on that, I think. So, but we get to see a bit of his home life, which is nice.
Does music come into prep for you at all in terms of when you're...
My way of... I don't have a very musical ear. You're being very nice that you think there's music in my life, but there is music, a lot of music in my life. But I don't. One of the reasons I don't have a very musical ear is one, I can't count, so that's quite important apparently in music.
Unless you're a jazz.
This is true, but I'm not. But kind of learning it like a piece of music, I suppose, in a way that it's a tone and that it has to have it. I mean, southern accents like that have got a musicality. There are lots of accents who've got musicality to them, but that it sort of going back and breaking it down into its sort of component parts and then putting it back together again, so it feels like kind of that. And then music is a big part of my working day because I just have an iPod, which Janelle would laugh about. She's like, going to go around saying, I've got this like 1980s Walkman I'm playing. It's like a fucking iPod. It's just like, it's not that old. It's like, but it's got all my music on it. And I just put it on random and I put it in my ears just to kind of so I can zone out. There's a lot of distractions on a film set, not least of all because you've got Catherine Harmon, Janelle Monáe and Kate Hudson. And it's just like laughing and having a good time. And I need to just sort of like stay in my head. So I'm always listening to music and then just throw it out just before I start. So
do you create playlists like for characters?
I do create playlists, but I find the random things quite good because that you can always jog it on because
well, not that one.
Not that one. Who put that one there? Yeah, and that's the surprise of that, and you hear a piece of music because you tend not to, especially now that kind of like you've got 1,000 songs or whatever on your play you know, it's like or not. I mean, you've got limitless songs, haven't you? Know, so I don't think we really listen to them. I don't really listen to music the way you know you kind of tend to. So having surprises, I like.
Yeah.
Shuffle. Like it's some new thing. You know the thing that's called shuffle in the iPod.
It's the surprise element.
Surprise, it's amazing.
Ooh,
Yeah, yeah.
haven't heard that one in a while.
Yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
But with Ryan, is he, because I love the notion with this particular film, I mean, the fact, it's so great, by the way, I haven't even said that to you, but it's such a
thank you.
great film. It's just, I can't imagine how you write a murder mystery as well. You know, I think that like
he's,
that kind
you
of,
know,
he's so great.
For it to work, it needs to all fit together.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's what he's a master of doing. And it needs that because it's great that it's funny and it's great that it sort of like entertains, but ultimately it's a murder mystery, so people are going to be trying to second guess, and they're always going to, oh, I think it's them, I think it's them, or whatever, which is wonderful. But you don't have to do it. You don't have to watch the movie like that. You can actually just watch it and forget about all that. But if that doesn't all join up, then it's disappointing. So I don't know how he does it.
How much, you know, this is a character you're playing again, and hopefully, you know, there are more to come with him. But does he talk to you about it? Because the power that performance in that first film and that character had, you know, in terms of how well received that first film has, it must be very important for him to have your feedback on that and your input to this character, and where you both find him, and where you both, like you say, how much of him you want to reveal.
Yeah, yeah. We have discussions, but I'm also very happy just to let him get on with it because I kind of trust him to do it. And we talked a little bit about this one and just about what he kind of had in mind, and I was like, great, that sounds fantastic. And then he goes away and writes it. And he came up with the script. I read the script and I said, I think we're there. I mean, I don't have any much to add. Of course, we then have more discussions about it, and sort of the film, you know, you've seen it. It kind of does things. It goes back. It comes forward. It does all these things that are kind of there to kind of. So there is a kind of there's a complicated sort of, I hate to say character arc, but there is a character arc in this film that's kind of quite important that everybody, but as for everybody in the film, Janelle and everybody.
Yeah.
And that's a complicated thing, but I don't know. I don't really worry about it too much.
Yeah.
He's got it.
Do you know where you want him to go?
No. I mean, I'm like, we went, I mean, no.
Do you know how many you're playing?
No, I don't know. But we'll do
One
them.
more
I mean,
at least, I think.
he said it the other day, which I think is right, is that if people want to see them, we'll keep making them.
Yeah.
As long as we can make them funny and interesting. And as soon as they're not funny and interesting anymore, then let's forget it. We'll walk away. So, you know, I mean, yeah.
I love the fact that people are already kind of putting together their cast list for the next
They are?
episodes
Okay,
and stuff,
right.
with their kind of wish list of who they want to see. Because
Right.
that's the clever thing about it as well.
Yeah.
It's kind of, you know, you're
Yeah.
the thread, and then you have this.
Well, he does. I
Brilliant.
don't know if you read that, but he says he never writes with an actor in mind.
Wow.
Because he said you're always disappointed because you kind of like you write and they're not available. So you do. So he's absolutely kind of just writes the characters and then gives
Yeah.
it to the and sees who's around.
Janelle was amazing in this as well.
Really,
So great.
really great. Yeah.
It's really exciting to see her
Yeah.
acting career.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, where that's going and what that's.
yeah, but she does. She really nails it, and it's complicated what
Yeah,
she's doing.
yeah,
Everybody though. I mean,
Yeah.
I know that it looks like we are having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we did have a lot of fun making it, but it's very delicate, intricate
Mm-hmm.
work that's going on up there. Because being funny, I mean, like as I keep saying, is like just because we find it funny doesn't mean that everybody else is going to find it funny. So it's like, you know, Kate Hudson's performance is up there with one of the best comedic performures that, you know, like.
Yeah, she's kind of she's just gone there.
Yeah.
As well.
It's
Can I
great,
get a bigger
yeah.
hat?
Yeah. Yeah.
All
There
of
was a
that.
bigger hat though. But
Was it?
Yeah, there was a much bigger hat.
Was
Yeah. But it was like literally like that.
Tipping her
Yeah, it's
over
like-
the
yeah,
edge.
yeah.
Did he play
Yeah.
music on set? Because it feels like.
No, just not that kind of set. I mean, I've been on sets like that, and that's kind of good. It's useful sometimes, but we
Yeah.
didn't. It's a nice idea that you can sort of
Yeah.
like party and then shoot, but you can't.
Yeah.
It's like you've got to. It's actually a lot of concentration, so you're kind of just moving. But we played a lot of music.
Yeah. Well, I've
After
also
work.
played. Was it Murder? You were playing a lot of set apparently.
Mafia.
Mafia. Sorry.
Yeah.
Never heard of that.
It's a bit like Wink Murder. It's a very Wink Murder where you kind of like, you never played that.
No.
And then you all sit around and
like I've missed out.
someone's the murderer,
Oh,
and then
okay.
sort of you have to wink, and then you're dead, and then people like have to guess who it is. But it's a much more complicated version of that because it's like you'll get pieces of cards and they take it very seriously.
Yeah, I heard.
Yeah.
When I was coming talked about music as well, I was looking at characters that you've played over the years and thinking about which ones do I really feel have like music as part of their thing. They listen to music a lot, and one of them was Joe Bang. I was like, Joe Bang has definitely got an interesting playlist and listens to.
What do you think?
I think he's actually into like metal.
Yeah, there
and
might
stuff
be
like that.
a
I
bit
don't know
of
what.
a bit of metal, a bit of grunge, maybe.
Yeah. Likes to dance, I think.
Likes to kind of jump. I'm not dancing,
Okay.
maybe not dancing,
Jump.
just jumping. Yeah. Yeah.
He's a mosh pit kind of guy.
I think he might be a mosh pit kind of guy. Yeah.
I love that.
Which I was back in the day.
But even things like Joe and Enduring Love, I feel like music's a
Right.
very big part of that character in a way as well, in terms of there's a beautiful kind of delicate fluidity to that performance that I think
Right.
that
Oh,
there's
lovely.
kind of feels
That's
like
so
there's
nice.
music
I
around
think
that.
I think it's unavoidable. I mean, and you know how important music is in movies, whether it's just incidental music or mood music, or suddenly, when you watch a movie and they get that track, and then that can make all such a difference. But then, like on the last Bond movie with Hans Zimmer and his stuff at the end of the movie, which is just like, it was kind of working, and then Hans came along and he went, oh, now it's really working. It's kind of that is just like, it's so special and and crucial.
I loved hearing you talk about the Billy and Phineas track, and you kind of heard it and then you took it out. What is this thing about cars? My husband's a musician, and that's where he goes into the car to listen to his record.
Someone did it to me years ago, and I was in a studio with a music producer, and a friend of mine was recording something, and we all went and listened to it in the car, and it was a Mercedes and it had a nice sound system, and he went, "This is the best place." I was like, "Look at that!" I was like, "These fucking really expensive speakers you got," but he was kind of wanting to get into this kind, and it stuck with me, and I thought, "No, you're right. That's the best place. Leave me alone. Close the doors."
Absolutely. I love the idea of you going and listening to that track and kind of getting it. And was that something you were? How involved did you get in that side of things? Because you think about your time as that character and those incredible songs and what they did. And there's a beautiful documentary recently. In fact, I was lucky enough to chat to David and Matt about the music, the celebration of the music.
Oh, right.
Great film.
Yeah.
And there's the pressure on these. On you all, I think, in terms of getting that song right. And I was interested if whether it was something you got involved in.
In the sense, I don't know a lot about it, so therefore, I've got a big mouth, so I mean, it's never stopped me. And you kind of just know. I think you kind of hear it, and you just kind of it's amazing. Isn't that an amazing thing when you listen to a track and you kind of know it?
Yeah.
And you go, and that's usually the sign that it's going to be, it's going to hit that thing. And so when you listen, you go, oh, I kind of know that. Yeah, I understand that. I know. And it's not that you see it coming.
Yeah.
It's not that you're kind of like it's being semaphored, that you know what the song is about. It's just that it's the emotional. It's when it hits you, and it kind of.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is. There's probably
It's just a feeling.
People. Yeah, it's feeling.
Emotion,
You're
isn't
right.
it?
Exactly. Yeah. There's probably lots of people written about it
It's for me, it's about how it feels.
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
But were you, like you say, you said you've got a big mouth. Would you send them suggestions of who you think should do the songs? Did you have ideas?
I did
on that
have.
side of
We
things?
had lots of discussion. We had lots of discussions over time.
Yeah.
Years ago, Amy Winehouse came in.
Yeah, it's beautifully told in the doc. Actually.
Yeah, I know, and I mean that was just like, in all sorts of
Yeah.
reasons that would have been amazing, but and sad and all of those things. But it's sort of, but that's part of the Bond thing, isn't it? I mean, that someone was talking to me about the other day, and I just sort of, I was reminded of that. Is that kind of cross-generational thing that would happen? The music, the track would come out. Everyone would go, "What do you think of the track? Do you think the track's good?" And it would just be this kind of like gathering storm that would happen with the film, because it was about everybody would be talking about it, and it would be something you talk about at home with your dad and your mum and your nan. Do you like the track, nan? It's like, I mean, so it was very important.
Yeah. When you went into Bond, going back to that start, just for a second, if you don't mind, of that theme tune and how iconic that music was when you stepped into that role, and I don't know, it just is it there in your head when you're on set? Is it kind of
It's in the supermarket. I guess.
It's everywhere.
Yeah,
People walking past you.
I remember
doing
doing the press launch when we did that thing where I came down the Thames,
Yeah.
which wasn't real, and I was just like, what the fuck is that? And I was like, what is this about? And then I remember going, and all the press, there were like 100 people there. It was like I was like, oh my God, this is intense. And I remember kind of like, and Daniel Craig. And I kind of walked out and they just went, wah, 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 and I went, oh shit. And that was kind of literally that kind of moment. I suddenly went, oh, this is happening. And it's so weird how you kind of block things out and kind of just think, yeah, it's all fun. And I got completely shocked. And it was that piece of music. Because that was the signifier. They played it as I walked out.
Yeah.
And it's like,
wow.
This is, there's no walk. I was kind of like, I'm going to go that way. But
Reverse back onto the boat.
I'm not so sure.
Yeah. It was a beautiful ending to that whole journey. It was just wonderful. It really was.
Oh, thank you.
The way those films are fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
It's so exciting in terms of when you've been part of something for so long, of kind of, what's next and what you do, and that must be, that must be exciting for you in terms of you closed kind of one chapter and it's the next chapter of what you do.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like there was a grand plan. This came along, and how fortunate am I to sort of like get something like this that seems to sort of, people want to go and see and want to watch, and that's so nice.
Yeah.
I didn't have it. I mean, I think things through a lot. I think about how we ended Bond, and it was very important to end it the way we did for me. And I think for the franchise, I think it kind of like it'll mean the franchise can kind of go on and do what it wants now.
Yeah.
It does that, which is kind of important. But what the future held, I was sort of like, well, let's see. I'm feeling good about myself.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted to do, was feel good about leaving it in a good place.
Yeah.
And I felt like, oh, we did that. That's good.
Yeah.
But kind of what was next? It was like, I don't know. I mean, and then this came along. Yeah.
And the advert. I can't not mention the advert. I can't not mention it because it does feel, but it does feel so clever because it is kind of going, thanks. And then you're like, okay, I'm done with that. It's great and I've loved it, but I'm having a great time and I'm going to have a great time.
Yeah.
It's joyous.
It is joyous. It is. I mean, and the gag hopefully that people get as well is that it is supposed to be sort of tongue-in-cheek that I'm saying I'm leaving something behind. Yeah. It's just a gag. It's just like, because it's like, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so, yeah.
It's brilliant. I loved you talking about Taika, being directed by Taika or not being directed by Taika. Like, go!
Yeah.
Just loosen up.
Loosen up. Just keep, yeah. It's like, no, he's got, I mean, listen, when Taika got involved, I was so pleased because I'm such a huge fan of his, but also just that in for a penny.
Yeah, totally.
You know what I mean? It's like let's do it.
Yeah.
What we're going to do, I want you to dance all the way through it. Okay. If you say so.
Was it the actual track that you had on the day of filming? Because that's the thing that blows my mind sometimes is when there's a dance scene in a film or something and it's got a piece of music and a lot of the time it's not that piece of music that's played.
We had another piece of music, but we couldn't use it.
Yeah.
And listen, the track that we've got is
it's
fabulous.
Great.
So but it's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same. Again, I'm
Yeah.
not musical. Apparently, it's similar.
You've seen Napoleon Dynamite, the film Napoleon Dynamite. You know the dance scene in that?
What? Remind
Canned
me.
Heat, Jamiroquai.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't that song?
Oh, was it not?
No, blew my mind that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's so like,
Yeah.
how could it not be?
Yeah.
It's so weird.
I think as long as it hits the same beat, it's fine, isn't it?
Slow you up, slow you down.
I mean, it's a two-step I'm doing, so it's like it just had to be a two-step.
Oh, hello.
I know.
Knows his dance
I
moves.
do know. I don't know what a three-step is. Something completely different.
Was music and film when you were growing up? Did you recognise it? Were there certain films and music?
That's a good question. I mean, certainly one of the biggest things. I mean, the soundtracks that I really kind of blew me away was Vangelis, Blade Runner, and that I then went and I think that's the first soundtrack I ever bought because that was. This sort of just like kind of trippy, kind of fantastic thing that kind of and then we used to have it back in the 90s. That used to go on in the evening.
Mm-hmm. Good rave record, that.
Yeah.
house party rave. Yeah, definitely. That's a really interesting one, because I think that there's two types of music within film: things that can sit outside the film and have a life of their own,
Yeah.
and then things that are so intrinsically woven within the
Yeah.
narrative and the characters that they kind of can only live within that environment.
That's
in a way
right.
as well.
No, that's true. That's very true. And so, I mean, some did. So they kind of make that leap, don't they? They kind of become sort of a record that you listen to on their own. I mean, Paris, Texas soundtrack is sort of. I mean, it's like kind of just nothing, you know. And then something like Hans Zimmer, which is sort of very much just it's the musical score, and you could listen to it, but it's like it's so woven into the kind of the emotion of the movie.
Yeah.
That it kind of you know.
Yeah. Is directing something that you have your eye on at all?
No, fuck that. People want to know, you know, like, what are we going to do now? I don't know. What are we going to do now? We're going to go over there. I don't know. It's like the idea is terrifying. Yeah, I mean, I suppose in a way I'm kind of tempted, but I don't think so. I'm kind of, you know, you go home at night and the phone will not stop ringing because there's the producer,
Yeah.
there's this. I don't think I work hard enough. I don't know if I could do that. I love actors and I love working with actors. I don't know if I could make that leap into directing actors. I'm not sure. I just don't think they'd take me seriously. They'd just laugh at me. Could you do? No. Would you mind? No. Okay. Do what you want then.
What about theatre?
Directing theatre?
Yeah. Because theatre's been a big part of your
Yeah.
world that's run alongside, you know, this.
I'm kind of a bit in awe of directors, and I love that. I love what, like with Ryan, who has a real special gift, and it's a desire to sort of kind of hold a party and to be in charge of the party and to manipulate the party and all of those things. I'm much more of the guy lying on the couch just going, well, I'm having a good time, don't worry about it. I mean, so I that's me, and him he's kind of pulling the strings, and I'm really happy to have someone like that pulling the strings.
Yeah.
That's where I get my kicks from, being kind of in that part of that thing. I just don't know if I've got the kind of the way. I used to toy with it, but I don't know if I've got the wherewithal to do it.
Happy on the couch with your Walkman, basically.
Yeah, basically with my 1980s Walkman. If only I had a 1980s Walkman, that would be amazing. They're worth a lot of money now.
My 9-year-old's
Yeah.
obsessed with cassettes. He asked for a cassette player
I
last
love that,
Christmas.
Yeah.
It's
I love
so,
that.
and then got
There was something magic about it, because our kid did that as well, which is, and just the kind of, I just bought lots of, just to put it down, record it, and
Yeah.
then have that kind of, I know.
and then devastated when
Yeah,
when it got caught up in
and it's
that
gone.
was yeah,
That's it.
yeah,
It's all gone.
forever.
Yeah.
It's out the window.
Yeah.
What is next?
Nothing for now. I've been away from home doing this. Got to go back home, be with my family.
Yeah,
That's sort of the kind of one of the privileges of sort of having a bit more notoriety, as you can pick and choose a bit, and that really is about kind of just making sure that there's plenty of gaps at home. Bond used to take me away from home for a year, and it was like kind of, it's hard,
Yeah.
really hard. So, and I don't need to do that anymore right now. So, nothing.
I remember seeing you at the Roundhouse at a Noel Gallagher gig.
Yeah. Do you know what happened at the end?
No,
That was
did I miss you again on stage?
No, but I was standing at the on the balcony and sort of walking out, and everybody was walking out, and as they kind of like the crowd turned around, they looked up and they went like that, and like 1,000 people went, "Who are ya? Who are ya? Who are ya?" And I just was like, "Oh wow, that's quite intense." And I went and saw Noel and Noel backstage. He went, that means they like you." And I was like, "Okay."
I thought you were going to say they all start singing the Bond theme at you. I was
that
like,
would be
oh
quite-
my
yeah,
god!
I know. Who are you? It's like
Straight back down.
straight
the
back,
road.
yeah.
yeah,
It's
totally.
like, I'm home. I'm home.
What was the last concert you went to?
Oh God, it's been so bad.
Yeah.
I haven't seen anything. It's really. I mean, I remember it's like we were in the middle of lockdown. We were doing. I came and Ed Sheeran was on. Graham Norton. I know this is not. I'm kind of dodging because I haven't seen it. I can't remember, which is awful. But Ed was singing live in the studio.
Yeah.
And I was sat on the couch, and everybody was like, we're all 6 foot apart, and just like, you know, kind of doing that thing where you had to do.
Yeah.
I was just,
Yeah.
tears were streaming down my face, because it was watching someone perform was just like, it's,
Yeah.
you know, I'm kind of getting teared up about it now. It's like, it really does affect you like that, because it's just, and that's what we've been missing. And having this go, I mean, I'm not bringing it back to Glass Onion, but having it in a cinema and watching it at the audience the other night in London
Yeah.
and all of that, it's like, well, what else is there?
Yeah.
You know, we've got to get out there and hang out with strangers. Someone said to me the other day, I kind of read this thing, it's like, our happiness is gauged by the strangers we meet. I don't know where that comes from, it's full complete bullshit, but I really liked it. I really like, because it's sort of like we got to get out there and mix with people and, you know, and music and theatre and film are kind of like a good opportunity to do that.
I felt like I'd had a sort of spiritual experience when I got that first thing of music that I think it was Laura Marling at the Royal Albert Hall, and it was empty because it was a proms, but I was there working, and it was weirdly the Royal Albert Hall being empty, but her performing with this string quartet. I was like sobbing.
Yeah, yeah, I bet.
It's that physical thing that it does to you, and that's the that's the power of music.
Yeah. And just also kind of the fact that people are just like, you know, you kind of just realise how fucking talented people are. You just go, oh my God.
We get blasé, don't we?
You do, yeah. You just think, well, you can sing, whatever, but it's like, you forget.
ABBA.
Yes.
Now, a mutual friend of ours,
Yes.
she got me along to see it, and I took my 2 kids.
Yeah.
I still can't really talk about it because it absolutely blew my mind.
One of these lovely things that they make this big announcement at the beginning, which is, please don't film this. And nobody does.
I know. Can we do that in everything, please?
I know. It's magic. It's my best friend directed it, so I'm kind of like, I was in floods of tears watching that.
Yeah.
But it is so emotional, and what he's done with it is sort of, you know, I mean, whether you're an ABBA fan or not, the experience is magic, and it's one of those magic moments, and I can't quite define it. I kept kind of like thinking, what am I watching? What am I doing? What? But then it suddenly would become incredibly emotional and beautiful, and the lights just like change.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth a look.
Oh, every song has got something different to it, and the live band there as well adds something.
Yeah.
I did the most disgusting cry laughing to Chiquitita. Oh my God, nobody needed to see that.
That was so, but that's with the sun.
Oh yeah, that's all it is. It's a sunset.
No. I know.
Broken.
Yeah. I know. Worth it. Really worth it. That was it. That's the last time. I mean, that's kind of weirdly there. That's the last one I went to see. That's a weird.
That's a good last gig.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely chatting to you.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you.
Have a great Christmas.
Thank you, and you.
I look forward to what's next.
Yeah.
Thanks, Daniel.
I'll see you.
Thank you so much.
Think of the danger here.
Are you calling me dangerous?
Well, we'll see.
Let it all out.
Hell yeah!
This is reckless. The killer wouldn't hesitate to kill again if it covers their tracks.